Good morning, everybody. It is August 21st, 2024 for our 10 o'clock regular City Commission meeting. Let's start with roll call, please.
Mayor Skidmore,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Allen,
Present.
Commissioner Kaler,
Present.
Commissioner Clayton,
Present.
and Commissioner Crowley.
Present.
Very good. We're all here. I want to welcome everybody here on such a beautiful day to be outside. We're inside. Some of you may be outside watching us, I don't know, from some form of social media, so welcome. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation by Pastor Greg Hall of Life Christian Church.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you to the Commission for the invitation to prayer. Let's pray this morning. Lord, we thank you that the Bible teaches us that today is the day that you have made. We give you thanks for it, Lord. We thank you for health and strength in our bodies, for the sunshine. We thank you for the opportunity to make decisions that we pray, God, will be led by you, and that'll be a blessing to this community. So I thank you for this commission, and I pray that you would lead and guide them with your wisdom, your grace, your strength, God. And we thank you that your plans are good and that you desire to bring blessing in our lives. We find that by following you. So I just say thank you for these things. And I pray your blessing on all the decisions that they make, your blessing on their lives. And we pray and ask for your blessing on this community. We thank you for it. In the great name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. I really appreciate that. We'll start with any public comments if there are any.
We have none registered.
Registered. Okay, we'll go on. Skip item 7. I'll go on to item 8, which would be the consent agenda, which will be the minutes on the August 14th meeting, the July 2024 financial report, Planning Commission minutes from July 25th. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion on that? Not. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. On the declaration, we'll move on to that. At this time, I'd like to give the commissioners a chance to declare any conflict or communication they've had that may influence their ability to consider today's impartially. Hearing none, we're skipping along. Item 10, we don't need that, so we're going right on to item 11.
Item A, Pathways Committee presentation.
Sheila Robertson will present an overview of the Pathways to Healthy Kansas initiative in Franklin County, highlighting the recent accomplishments, current projects, and future plans aimed at enhancing active living, healthy eating, and tobacco prevention within the community. And Sheila is here. So hi, Sheila. Come on up to the podium.
A little visual aid here, so give her a chance to thank you so much for your help with that. Might be a little small, but I'll talk through it and point to some things. So, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for the invitation to share about this project. I know most of you, but just to introduce myself, I'm Sheila Robertson. I've lived in Wellsville for 15 years, and for the last 7+ years, I have served as a contractor to the health department. And that role has been being the grant coordinator for this Pathways grant. I also wear some other hats. For example, I'm a contractor for Advent Health here in town, so I help coordinate some of their community health plan activities, but today I'm wearing my Pathways grant hat. So specific to the Pathways grant, and there's a description that was in your packet that Melissa pulled together. It's perfect. Thank you so much. It's a great overview. This is called Pathways to a Healthy Kansas. This unique and comprehensive grant was first awarded to the Live Healthy Franklin County Coalition for 4 years back in 2016. And at that time, we were one of only 8 communities in Kansas to receive that grant. The former health department director, Midge Ransom, really led getting that grant for our community at that time. And she hired me as a contractor to coordinate it, and we assembled a steering committee of about a dozen community leaders, including representation from the city. Initially, Amy Finch was on our committee for several years. Michael Hafley served on it for some time, and then Melissa Reed has served most recently. So thank you for your contributions in serving on that committee. And then in 2020, we were again awarded a 4-year grant. This time, Blue Cross awarded it to 24. but we, continue to receive. So got that other 4-year grant, bringing us to what just ended July 31st of 2024. So those 2 back-to-back 4-year grants. In terms of the total funds, the first 4 years, Blue Cross invested $650,000 towards our community, and the second 4 years was $400,000. So in total, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas provided $1,050,000 in grant funds to our community over this time through the Pathways grant. Their funds were earmarked both for the grant coordination, so they helped to fund the staff, as well as for the implementation of what amounted to about 50 total projects over the 8 years. The projects aimed to make it easier to do 3 key health behaviors that have been shown to impact chronic disease greatly: obtain healthy foods, participate in physical activity, and live tobacco-free. So the posters on this banner, the top one lists all of the healthy food related projects, and I'll talk more about the Ottawa ones in a minute. The bottom map section lists all of the active living related projects. So most of those also included some tobacco-free policies. And then there were a few projects, I know you can't see towards the bottom, that didn't really fit into either of those 2 categories, but they funded, for example, Kansas Leadership Center training and some workplace well-being projects, as well as some COVID relief during that time when that was just the greatest need. Before I talk specifically about some of the Ottawa projects, I wanted to give a little more overview on this second 4 years. Some important aspects of the grant were that it focused on social determinants of health. So this refers to factors in our environments or, that affect us that you wouldn't normally think are related to health, but they really do serve as a barrier if you have challenges. So for example, education, economic stability, your neighborhood environment, your social context, all of those are considered social determinants of health. And if you're experiencing challenges or barriers in those, it can be difficult to choose the healthy behaviors that are going to directly impact your health. Also in phase 2, there was a focus on populations of focus, which refers to groups that are more disproportionately affected by poor health outcomes. So for example, we particularly considered how could we assist groups experiencing low income, disabilities, or older adults. So there's a lot, packed onto this banner demonstrating the 50 projects over the 8 years. But I want to point out a few things overarching. We were very intentional about involving all of the towns in the county. This was a countywide project, so obviously a lot of things occurred in Ottawa. But the maps are to really show that we tried to be intentional about involving all towns, and we're glad that they all took advantage of this. Also, we were required to work in many different sectors or pathways. For example, some of the pathways included restaurants. So you see restaurants here, schools, some of the social determinants, and government, and so forth. Some of the projects were more prescriptive by how the Blue Cross team kind of laid out what you needed to do. Others were a little bit more flexible, but each grant did have certain requirements, and every one of these organizations that received funding really had to put skin in the game. They had to meet with us. They often had to adopt new policies. They sometimes had to obtain matching funds or contribute in kind so that ultimately the grant dollars would kind of stretch further and accomplish more. So I really appreciate and thank all of the local organizations that participated in this. So being at the Ottawa Commission meeting, I thought you might be interested, particularly in the projects in Ottawa, if you're not already aware. So I'll highlight a few of those. Starting with the healthy eating. So in Ottawa, the Franklin County Health Department did receive funding to do some of their nutrition classes. That was earlier this year, where participants, which they exceeded the number they wanted to enroll. I think they had 60 or 70 at each of those monthly classes. They received produce baskets, they received knife sets, cooking supplies, and great education on nutrition. Ottawa University received funds to increase the healthy food at their food pantry, as well as some signage to make it easier for students to locate the healthier foods and kind of guide them towards that more. Elizabeth Layton Center is actually working on a project to provide healthier vending options to their staff as well as their visitors. And then there are several restaurants that participated in meeting even just small changes. So, for example, if they adopted a policy to make sure that a vegetable was offered as a side on the kids' menu, or that sugar-sweetened beverages were not obvious, the default on the kids' menu. So some of them were small changes, but heading in the direction of making it healthier. The restaurants that participated were Smoked Creations, Pizza Village, and Mugshot Coffee. Then Ray's Bulk Foods participated and made some changes to their retail location. Neosho County Community College improved the healthy food and beverage at their work site for their employees. The Chamber of Commerce received some funds to trial incentives at the Legacy Square Farmers Market back when that was kind of a pilot. So those are kind of the healthy living or the healthy food ones in Ottawa. Some other recipients of the more active living projects were the Ottawa Recreation Commission. They participated in having a health lens analysis done of their new strategic plan. So it was looked at to make sure, especially with these populations of focus that I mentioned, that there are, where possible, we're reducing barriers to those groups participating in activities with the Recreation Commission. Ottawa University Bike Share, that's maybe a more visible one. You may have seen for 1 year, they actually had e-bikes, which were, a little faster. And the grant let them try those out. They were very popular, but they were not really sustainable expense-wise. But now they do have a sustainable bike share where the students can check out classic bikes, not e-bikes, but they can check them out at the library and use those, as needed. Onward Ottawa received a sizable grant back when Legacy Square was kind of finishing doing the playground that's over, catty corner from that. So Pathways contributed to that, as well as Ottawa Bike and Trail and the downtown bicycle racks that they added kind of strategically, making sure each corner has a couple of bicycle racks. Elizabeth Layton Center participated in several worksite wellness plans. CalMAR did as well, and the Agency on Aging. And the City of Ottawa did receive a small grant to assist with the senior agility park equipment that I think DJ ended up kind of finishing out and putting in place at Kansas. So that was wonderful. All right. I also just want to circle back to some of the people that really helped make this happen. So not only did each of the grant recipients have a champion who really drove their project, but the leadership committee that I mentioned that Melissa was on, these folks met monthly for most of these 8 years, and they really helped to steer the direction, review options, make decisions to make sure we were responsibly directing these funds. And this group included, in addition to Melissa, Janet Paddock, the county clerk, Crystal Anderson with ECAN, Donald Anderson with Ottawa University, Ryland Miller with the Chamber, and previously John Cohen, Paul Bean with FCDC. The health department, of course, had Midge Ransom, which then Brenda Fitzenmeyer took her place, and she's been extremely instrumental, as well as Ashley Confer at the health department, and previously Erin Laurie had been kind of in that role. Two more, Chelsea Richmond with the K-State Extension, and then Levi Meyer, formerly with the Ottawa Rec. So I'm really thankful to all of those individuals for serving on that leadership committee and helping to guide this work. And lastly, I do want to also acknowledge that the Director of Blue Health Initiatives at Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas, her name is Virginia Barnes. She and her team that she assembled have been wonderful to work with, so much credit to them for designing this amazing sizable grant program. So that's kind of a recap, a lot of information packed in, but are there any questions or
Anybody have
information?
any questions for Sheila? Very good presentation. That's something that's so important. And what I noticed about the people in town, all the different community organizations involved with it, as well as our community-owned retail establishments are helping out. And I think that's great to see their commitment to our community as well. I might add that too, but the older I get, the more I think about dementia. And my wife and I are taking some web classes online about prevention, and has a lot to do about eating, exercise, but also mental exercises. And for those of you out there listening, don't neglect that either. My wife does those Sudoku puzzles every day, and she's a lot better than I am. I find I go right to the key and fill in the blanks a lot easier, but that's not the intent, I guess. But nonetheless, how important mental exercises are to keep your brain working. So
Yes, and actually on that note, so there is another RFA that's out to continue pathways, but we are kind of in a lull right now. So the last one ended July 31st. If we receive the next one, it would start January 1. And that is including behavioral and mental health as one of, so the 4 focuses instead of the 3. So there would be more available to help with those kinds of things as well. So,
Absolutely.
Yep.
Any other questions anybody have? Well, Sheila, thanks for your presentation. Thanks for your work in this. Keep up the good work, and we're really proud of your efforts, and keep going that way. You're going the right way. Thank you very much.
thank you all.
Move on to item B.
Request for approval of a resolution authorizing the serving of complimentary alcoholic liquor and enhanced cereal malt beverage during Ladies' Night Out.
The resolution supports the Ladies' Night Out event scheduled to take place in downtown Ottawa on September 27, 2024. And it looks like City Clerk Reed will be presenting this.
Good morning, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm here today to talk about the Ladies' Night Out event. It's recommended that you consider the resolution authorizing the serving of alcoholic liquor and enhanced cereal malt beverage for the Ladies' Night Out event on September 27th, 2024. The Chamber has requested a resolution formally acknowledging and allowing the Ladies' Night Out event to take place in downtown Ottawa from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. They have hosted this event for 19 years, and participants will register at Ladies' Night Out at Legacy Square, and then they'll proceed down to Main Street, where they expect over 600 participants. Over 20 businesses will open their doors to welcome participants into their establishments, offering prizes and refreshments. The requested resolution will support this event, allowing the Chamber to apply to the State of Kansas Alcoholic Beverage Control Division, allowing participating businesses to offer alcohol to their guests if they want. There's no financial impact from the consideration of this, and the resolution was authored by the city attorney and has been approved to as form. So I know Ryland's here if you have any questions, but I would stand for questions as well.
Anybody have any questions?
We have this one. It's not really about this specific item, but do you know if they're also planning on doing a common consumption request for that event?
We have not received an application at this time. I believe they're having conversations, but the city doesn't drive that. That would have to be an applicant that would apply.
Just like we talked about at last week's meeting, the two would not really overlap in the sense that this is a separate section, separate exemption under the code. You could not go into a store and have a glass of wine and take that wine out on the street. So you'd be looking at 2 separate things happening at the same time. I wouldn't want there to be any confusion for participants in Ladies' Night Out that they would be able to go in and get a drink somewhere that was not an approved seller with the special cups. So there is a bit of education that would have to go on if we're going to run both at the same time.
I know it's been a huge success, Ryland. Yeah, how many participants you've had over the years? I mean, it seemed like it's been a growing event each year. So
Absolutely, yeah. 19 years this has been going on,
Wow.
and I know the last 4 that I've been a part of have been, yeah, let's say anywhere from that 4 to 600 range in regards to participants. That's not including the businesses that show up as well. We put 20 plus businesses participating. That plus is really hard because it's actually, last year we would have had, I think it was 42, 43 businesses participate in that event. And I have a strong feeling, given the start we've had already this year, that will only be a bigger number. So great participation from citizens, great participation from individuals coming in to the community to be able to participate, and then also great participation from businesses as well.
and then someday we'll have a men's night out. Is that in the?
It's in the works. You
Oh,
bet. I actually
really?
just had a conversation with someone last night. They had a great idea. If you have any other great ideas, yeah, no, I'd love to hear them.
I've been waiting on that one. So okay, equal time, right? Okay, sounds like a fun time. Any other questions anybody have? If not, we'll need to look at an approval on this. We have a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Commissioner.
I move that we approve item B in our agenda today.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Lots of seconds there. Okay. We'll go with the 2 females on this one. How about? So any other discussion on that? Let's take a roll call vote, please.
How do you vote, Mayor Pro Tem Ellen?
Yes.
Commissioner Clayton?
Yes.
Commissioner Kaler?
Yes.
Commissioner Crowley?
Yes.
And Mayor
And
Skidmore?
I vote yes too. That motion carries. So thank you, Melissa. Good job. And Ryland, thank you. Move on to item C.
Electric system overview, tree trimming, Quadrant 2 bid review.
Following a request for proposal process and bid opening, staff recommends approval of Asplund in the amount of $149,246.40. And, okay, Director Olson, please take over.
Mayor, Commissioners, in front of you have the opportunity to continue on with a tree trimming program that we have started last year. This would be Zone 2, and we will be this opportunity was a proposal that was open, that was put out in June and opened up in July. And our recommendation at this point is for you to consider that option and to approve the proposal. These are the 4 phases that we have previously been discussing, and we have Zone 1 was completed last year. We're moving into Zone 2, which would be maintenance of the main circuits on the south side of the city, basically the main lines running from the river all the way to the south end of town. And then next year we'll move into Zone 3, which is more the deeper into the areas within the south, on the southeast part of the town. And then 2026 will be the southwest part of town. Program is crucial to the maintenance of our system. Last year we had a major storm in end of July, and this right here is the effort to get out to basically trim the trees and basically pull everything back from our electric lines to minimize those impacts. The proposal went out in June, sent to businesses, the opportunity for them to submit. We had one company, Asplund Tree Expert, LLC, submitted a bid, and it was reviewed, making sure that they met all the criteria for that they could follow what the request for proposal was. In the process, they did meet all the requirements. We have worked with the company in the past and looked at their proposal, and the project cost is $149,246.40. The electric fund would be the payment out of that, would be the electric distribution. Financial impact has been reviewed and is approved, confirming that we have the funds available to do this. Legal considerations is all contracts and agreements will be reviewed and approved by the city attorney, ensuring compliance with Kansas statutes and municipal code. So the staff recommends that the city commission accept a bid from Asplund Tree Expert LLC and authorize the city manager to execute the contract after negotiating any details as part of it for tree trimming in zone number 2 for a total amount not to exceed $149,246.40. Are there any questions?
Anybody have any questions? Good. You know, this is something we've been having people tell us more and more, that we need more tree trimming. I think last year we spent about 130 some thousand, so I'm glad to see we're increasing that and putting a priority on this. Trees are great. We love them. We love the shape, love the beauty and everything, except during the storm, right? And
That's
the only
usually a problem.
that creates a problem sometimes. And so I'm glad to see that we've taken some preventative action. And I'm very pleased to see this in the agenda today. So,
Director Olson, just so for clarification for our citizens,
Yes.
this is in the easements. So
Yes.
if folks, if they see you in the back and your Aspen's trimming the trees and stuff, it's just for the easements. They're actually not going to go into the yards and
this
clear
right
up
here is
above their
strictly-
lines and things like that.
This is strictly our lines as we run throughout. These are the main lines, so these are probably going to be ones that are going to be running down major lines. And then you move into deeper into the neighborhoods to get those. Those would be a later one. This one is if you have an issue that's tree is hitting a main line, it could actually affect all the individuals that or customers that are on that particular line. So you want to get those clear. That way, if any issue does come up, it could be isolated and minimize the impact. It's a bad impact on anybody that loses power, but it's extremely bad when you lose all the customers that are on that circuit. So this one's to make sure everything is clear, and then we start moving further and further into the neighborhoods to get those lines cleared. being a Tree City, USA city is enjoyable. Trees do offer a great amount of shade. It benefits the cooling requirements on a house. But when it's in the vicinity of electric lines, it's not a good thing.
Sure. Do you, and you may have mentioned this, do you have an estimated start date and an estimated time of completion?
I do not have that information right in front of me. This right here was part of the proposal. I did not preview the proposal before now.
Thank you.
Now,
Director Olson,
go ahead.
Yes.
Clayton.
you had mentioned that these, it shows on the map that they will be trimmed to industry standards. Can you kind of roughly touch on what that is, kind of how far back from the lines they'll be trimmed, what that looks like?
That'd be a little more of a technical question. I do have our electric distribution superintendent that could probably go into further detail. He's a little more privy with that. My background is not within electric distribution, so I don't want to speak out of turn on that. So,
Ed Thompson.
Commissioners, Mayor, good morning. Yeah, they're a 10-foot clearance on within the power line. So anything within 10 foot, and that's from ground to infinity. Now, they also, a lot of times you'll see a tree sticking out underneath. So even though that is the standards, they don't normally trim anything that's under, just for the ease of getting through there. Because if that tree limb is shooting out towards it's not going to grow up into our stuff. So
Good. So that 10-foot, do you think that prevents for X number of years? We wouldn't have to go back to that? Was that an estimate on that? Or
if we have years like this, it's, the X number is maybe 2.
yeah.
But normal years, it's what we'd like to do when we get through everything, we'd like to set up a 5-year program. And that's each section, after the 5 years, it'll be ready to be trimmed again. And the amount will be significantly less because it's already they're just trimming the little stuff and not all the big things hanging over it. So,
Okay. And Quadrant 1 is the north side of town, is that correct?
Yeah.
We did last year, this year, I guess. Okay.
yeah. And that's just mainly because out in the industrial, which is a big area, they don't have a lot of trees. So we just kind of did the whole north side, and that's the main feeders and all the tributaries off from it. So
Great. Fantastic. Okay, any more questions anybody have? I'll entertain a motion on item C.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a second on that. Any other discussion? Now let's vote on this contract.
How do you vote, Commissioner Clayton?
Yes.
Commissioner Kaler?
Yes.
Commissioner Crowley?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Allen?
Yes.
And Mayor Skidmore?
And I vote yes too. The motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. Good report. Move on to item D.
Report on KDHE and EPA regulatory compliance requirements.
The installation of the muffler catalyst combination on Unit 6 and 7 ensures utility energy production operations comply with federal regulatory requirements while allowing the power generators to function in a more efficient and effective power generation output without overheating damage to the generator. And this would be Electric Superintendent Hunsaker.
Thank
Good
you.
morning.
I'm not asking for any money today.
Okay, everybody take a sigh.
I move.
Yes. There we go.
We accept your report.
I'm here to report on how the money was spent. A couple of years ago, 3 years ago, as a matter of fact, we had our previous test, compliance test. They're done every 3 years. And the contractor, she told us it was not, our 6 and 7 was not going to pass again. So we got together, came up with a plan in 2022, passed a budget to get new catalyst mufflers installed. They were ordered in 2022. In 2023, they were delivered in July, and you probably noticed them. They sat out there from July until May of this year. And in May, they got installed. Wheeler World is the one who installed them. And the guys did a pretty good job helping out and everything. June, they were tested, our compliance testing. And they performed fabulously, just like we wanted to do. The emissions reduction increased from 70% to 86 on one and 88 on the other one. The back pressure went from a 15 inches of water column at 5 megawatts, decreased to 5 inches of water column at 5.5 megawatts. So it ensures the overheating to be solved. We can run them at 6 megawatts at any time. And we're back to normal.
Great.
So,
That's it. Anybody have any questions of this? I don't think we're familiar with those numbers, but they sound good. I assume you're happy with them.
yes, actually, the units, because they're greater than 500 horsepower and they're compression ignite, they fall under the category to be either 23 parts per million volume of CO or a 70% reduction of CO emissions. And like I said, they have to be in compliant and they're tested every 3 years.
Superintendent Hunsinger, if we weren't compliant and we weren't able to use those, what would be the repercussions?
The engines would be considered emergency use only. We would not be able to run them for SPP dispatch. We would not be able to do very little maintenance runs on them, testing on them. They would just sit there. And they're allowed right now 48 hours. Emergency units are allowed 48 hours a year to run. There's talk now they want to reduce that to 0. So, and I might touch to Winter Storm Uri. That was an emergency event. But we did not know that until 3 days into the event.
Thank you.
Great. Any more questions? This doesn't take any action, I assume, right? We're good there. So I appreciate the update.
Thank
Your
you.
diligence in making this happen. Thank you.
Oh, one other thing.
Yes.
We were $31,000 under budget.
Wow.
I guess that's an important one.
Yeah,
Another.
Okay.
I'll approve that.
Yeah. When we did the budget, the price of metal was very volatile, and we weren't sure how it was going to be when we got time to order them. But the price came in pretty good, so we jumped on it at the beginning of 2023.
Good job. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. Thanks. We'll move on to item E, which would be just the current project status and updates for the last 30 days. And City Manager Silcott.
Honorable Mayor and City Commission, just to give you a highlight on a couple of items here. We have our upcoming projects that we're currently working on, which includes the HVAC update, OMA's boiler, the commission chambers modernization, Pin Oak lift station, which was recently approved, and our community vision plan, which is programmed for $30,000 at this point in the 2024 budget, and is currently in the development for an RFP. The completed projects to date include the Law Enforcement Center's roof and stabilization of the walls and roof there. Our security improvements here at City Hall, power quality study for circuits 8 and 10, which serves the Quadrant 1 that was just discussed by our electric utility personnel with Jeff and Ed, and also serves our Northeast Industrial Core. So that's why that's important to us. And then our K68 traffic study, which was completed and presented in June, I'm sorry. The Northeast Sewer Lift Station, which was completed in June. The water line replacement from 17th to 19th along Elm, that was completed in July. We have our current project underway, or at least in the preliminary phase of its design, which would be the taxiway reconstruction. And that was originally a rehabilitation project that, due to degradation, had been upgraded to a reconstruction. And so there was a slight delay in that. Our splash pad, that's always popular. is completed, and we recently added the intersection improvement and stormwater improvements there at Mulberry and Dundee, which serves our Calmar facility and is right on the boundary of a more established neighborhood abutting the factory there. And then this just highlights the projects that are listed on the 2022A issuance. So we'll have that continually running and ongoing until those are completed. Our playground park, as you know, is underway, and it's in progress. So we don't have any issues at this time, and we're still on our milestone expectations. So
You think that'll be completed? Do we have a projected date on that one?
I had it, and literally I just lost it. I apologize. I was thinking it was slated for early autumn,
Okay.
September, October.
Okay.
Our proximity park water tower is currently underway, with most recent improvements being the catch basin for our overflow, and again, site grading and preparation, as well as additional concrete work. And we're looking forward to the pump station upgrades, so that then that will further move its utilization along. So we also, you'll notice for this, and I'll mention it again for the base grant gas line project, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. The Department of Commerce will be here to inspect the projects itself for progress, which is normal, and also to perform just a documentation overview, which we have our house in order with respect to our structure and our file and documents that we have. So we're looking forward to showing them the progress of the state's investment in this project for our community. We have our standby power, which is to serve the water plant. Again, what I just referenced with respect to the completed base grant for our gas field that will serve our gas service line from Kansas Gas Service to serve Proximity Park. And so not much to report there, other than that we're still waiting on paperwork, documentation, and processing so that we can get reimbursement. Our electric meter replacement, again, there's nothing new to report at this stage, and we're still anticipating a February 2025 at this point. If something happens to facilitate or accelerate that timeline, we'll report back to you. Our water treatment plant study, it's a master plan to look at how we can utilize our existing facilities and then bring them along to more efficient and effective technological improvements for processing our water. And are there any questions for myself or the members of our team who are here, the actual experts?
Okay. Anybody have any questions on this? A lot of good things still happening here. It's good to see. There's no questions? Thanks, Brian. Go on to your comments now.
I just want to convey our appreciation to the OMA for their recent award with the Best Live Music Venue in Franklin County. So we hope that folks are able to get out and enjoy some of the activities, and we're certainly appreciative of the entire crew, Tiffany and Noah and everyone. They do a wonderful job with that, and I know my wife and I just attended the Beach Boys tribute band, so that was quite a fun thing, and we hope others are able to make the Jerry Garcia, Grateful Dead concert that'll be coming up, and so I'll be sporting another Jerry Garcia tie at the next commission meeting. So
Can't wait to see that.
I want to continue to remind folks that our kiosk is out of order, and again, it's been a point of discussion over time, and we're assessing options as to whether or not it is going to bear replacement, and if so, is it properly placed? So there's a whole bunch of considerations to go to that, because online payment wasn't as prevalent when it was installed. So that's something that we're also looking at, and we'll have some actual usage data as much as we can get. It's difficult because of its lack of ability to collect the data. So we have an idea, but and
I was wondering about that.
we'll let Director Landis and Assistant Director McCurdy field those questions when we come to you with a
All right.
potential solution or a
If
list of
there's a way to
solutions.
know the names of the people using it and how much usage there is, but if we got that, we can contact them about
Do you have
payment methods
some
today.
comments to add, either one of you, for Melanie
When we
or
get to it.
Rebecca?
That's all right if you can, but that's all right.
We are working diligently to come up with the data that we had discussed during our budget season as far as contacting individuals who currently use the kiosk. That is not something that was on our radar to notify them, but we have posted things on our social media pages. We've got a sign on the kiosk. We do have multiple variety of ways that they can pay, not just online, but we have a drop box. We have the counter available to them. So
Yeah, I mean, I did pull monthly reports from 2016 to 2024. That's how we know the service time. So I do have the number of transactions and the dollar amount and the different types of payments that were accepted, which was card, cash, and checks. It's just analysis time and then
Okay.
putting together a recommendation.
And then, okay, well, we'll get to that discussion when we get closer to it, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah,
what
we
do
can
with
talk
the
all the numbers and figures then.
machine. Okay, great.
And you made Assistant Director McCurdy's day, because I know she perked up when she got to start talking numbers.
Oh, yeah. Well, I got another question
So
for
you-
later. But
yeah. We also want to congratulate Officer Hernandez for graduating the KLETC in Hutchinson. He completed his 14-week training. He is an officer who, we're proud to say, found Ottawa an attractive place to live and work. He was visiting a friend who was a student at Ottawa University, and so it was nice that someone saw the same attributes that make Ottawa a place worth living and investing in here. So we're grateful for him, and we also congratulate him on his accomplishment. And now he's on to field training. Have our budget calendar for the most recent Planning Commission. Last week conducted their CIP review, and they review that by statute. Just the sole responsibility is for the Planning Commission to ensure that it conforms with our comprehensive plan. In other words, are we investing in our community in the areas that we said we would with respect to type and manner? And then we'll have our intent to exceed the revenue neutral rate and adoption of the budget with the conduct of the public hearing, and then the actual adoptions of both the operating followed by the capital improvement program. And from that, then we'll have our additional tentative agenda items that you'll see here, which includes some IRBs and tax increment finance projects that are focused on Premier Automotive, which is the automotive or the car dealer there off of 23rd. They are adding a second site to that, so they've got the Dodge and Chevy now. So you'll be seeing a festival day finance or festival. You'll see Director Landis for a good chunk of next meeting as she and Tyler, our bond attorney, walk us through this process.
Call it festival? I like that idea. Sounds like fun to me. I'll be there.
Well, we do want to celebrate Legacy Square and the
That's
5-year
right.
anniversary of that,
Natural
so
festival.
it dovetails nicely. And we'll also have outside agency monthly reports, and then I think we carried one over there, so I'm sorry I missed that. And with that, I'll have myself or the team answer any questions you have. If not,
Sure.
to the next item.
Any questions anybody have of Brian? Guess we're good. Let's move on to commissioner comments. Let's start with Commissioner Clayton. You're still on, I'm sure.
I am. Apologies if it's loud. I'm at the Kansas Housing Convention this week, so excited about the stuff we're kind of going through here. Bring that back. And then want to give a plug. Next week is Fusion. I know it's on our upcoming events. But prior to Fusion, there's a Parade of Champions that will start at City Park, continue downtown to Legacy Square. They're highlighting local student athletes and their successes from the women's flag football team at OU, some high school teams, and several other OU teams. So be sure to come down and check that out as well.
And what time does that start again?
The parade starts at 6, and then we'll start at City Park, go downtown. They will stop at the courthouse. The band and I think cheer and dance will perform in front of the courthouse square, and then we'll end at Fusion at Legacy Square.
Very good. Okay. Anything else? And thanks to Commissioner Clayton. Thanks for being there. Hope that bring back some good information for us. So thank you for your participation there. How about Commissioner Kaler,
And at this time.
Commissioner Crowley,
I have no report.
Pro Tim Allen?
No comment.
Have anything else either? But we do have, I'll just go over the announcements first. We got the OU Fusion, like I mentioned earlier, on the 27th. The commission meeting on the 28th. Chamber Eggs and Issues at Event Health on the 29th. And Ryan, we got a good number of people coming to that, I assume. We're good? All right. Looking forward to that. September 4th commission meeting, and then September 11th commission meeting. We do have a need for an executive session today. Or Counselor.
Mr. Mayor, I am requesting an executive session. The reason would be for attorney-client privilege to engage in confidential communications with the board's attorney, with the board and myself and the city manager present. I would request a period of 30 minutes to begin at 10:50 and reconvene in this room at 11:20 a.m. There will be no action proposed or taken after that executive session.
Is there a motion to such?
So moved.
And there's a second.
Second.
There's a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
That motion